All right, there we go. Hello, hello. John S. Rhodes here of the Rhodes Brothers. This is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. Got some glasses on because I'm going to be reading from a book in just a moment. And the topic of today's short talk is The Little Black Book of Mystery. Now, there's more to it, and we're going to dive in just a moment. But I want to point something out that is of critical future importance to you. And even though it begins in the here and now, your future depends on your understanding of the Little Black Book. Now, most people, when they talk about books, they are talking about the books that they have read over time, what they learned. They talk about the author. They talk about the key points. They try to summarize. They use books for the purpose of reference. Now, when I mention Little Black Book, to some people, they also think about phone numbers and they think about people who are in the Little Black Book that they can contact for favors, that they can reach out to. In other cases, the Little Black Book might be something where people are keeping a ledger, what is due, what is owed. And while these things are very interesting, there is a much more powerful Little Black Book that I strongly encourage you to consider. I'm talking about a journal. And what I have in my hand here is a journal that I started over 10 years ago at this point in time as I'm recording this. The reason I bring this up is it touches upon a key principle that the Rhodes Brothers have talked about many, many different times. There is a profound difference between consumption and production when it comes to success as an entrepreneur and a small business. When we think about consumption, maybe we think about eating some food and consuming it and putting it into our bodies. Or consumption might be thought of as, I'm going to sit and watch Netflix, I'm going to watch YouTube videos, I'm going to sit back and relax and really, let everything come into my eyeballs, into my ears. I'm going to be thinking as I watch. Here's the thing. When you consume, it feels like forward-moving action. Let me say that again. When you consume, in other words, when you watch TV, when you watch videos or listen to audiobooks or do anything of that nature at all, it's going to feel very, very much like you are doing something and that you're carrying yourself in a positive fashion into the future. Whereas in most cases, it's actually mental junk food. Unless you're watching videos exactly like this one, bless your heart if you are, unless you're doing that and the consumption is for the sake of improving your mind, your body, your soul, your business, your tools and tactics, learning, educating yourself, if you're doing that, that's okay. If you are consuming for the sake of entertainment, that's another topic entirely. Now, some very clever people have done something very intelligent, and to a degree, I've done that, and my brother Matt has done that, where it becomes edutainment, a mix of education and entertainment. Now, I could be telling jokes and telling you all kinds of stories to make it a bit more educational and entertaining at the same time, but I am definitely right here, right now, leaning towards education. And I think you know that and you appreciate it. Thank you for sticking with me. I will ask you at this point in time is leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It really does matter a lot. Now, I do have this black book. I promise to tell you about it in just a moment. So we've talked about, and we spent time thinking about production, but not in this video. In other videos on the Rhodes Brothers channel, we have talked about production. Okay, so we'll take a step back. Remember, consumption feels like forward-moving production, but it's not. Consumption is consumption, and the more entertaining it is, the more it's just mere consumption. Whereas production, as we have discussed in other places, production means you are creating, you're thinking, and importantly, you are actually putting something into the real world. Now, when I say the real world, that just means maybe you're typing something up, maybe you're taking photographs, maybe you're physically writing on a page, okay? Maybe you are shooting your own video. Maybe you're reading, yes, reading, but with intention and taking notes because you're going to use those notes for an article that you're going to write. So you must not mistake consumption of an entertainment sort with consumption for the direct use of creating and producing for the sake of putting value into the world. So there's consumption and there is production. Now, greater wealth through mastery is our tagline for this entire series. And the purpose of that is that when you can master something, you can gain control over it. And there's no higher mastery than self-mastery. Some would beg to differ about that, but in my experience, self-mastery is the greatest mastery. We're getting closer to the secrets of the Black Book here. If we add everything together, what we want to do is produce, not consume, and we want to produce for ourselves first and foremost, because the investment that we make in ourselves, that's the greatest investment possible. Think about that for a moment. If you invest in others, that's wonderful, it helps build a relationship, but the value transfer is from you to the other person. Whereas if you produce, especially for yourself, creating value for yourself, you are the greatest possible investment for the sake of yourself, but also, importantly, for the sake of other people. In other words, when you are inwardly focused and producing for your own sake and for your own mastery, self-mastery, that is the very pinnacle, that is the apex of production. Because if you can produce for yourself and instantiate, create out of thin air change, then you are able to do that with and for other people. Not only are you walking the walk, you're talking the talk. And it goes both ways. You're able to say it, speak it, do it for yourself, but you can also lead other people. Strategically, this is critical. You're able to say, I've done that, I've been there, and here's how I've done it. Here are my results. You can give people case studies, you can tell stories. It's incredible when you focus not on consumption, but on production for yourself, for self-mastery, and that will lead to greater wealth. Now, does that always mean financial wealth? Almost always. It always leads to greater wealth in terms of well-being, mental clarity, how you feel about yourself, your confidence, interpersonal relationships, because when you work on yourself, when you produce for yourself, when you teach and train yourself, you have to get more logical. You have to get more clear. You have to lead yourself. You have to create a bigger vision of the world and life. The way that you believe in yourself is producing value for yourself, mastering yourself. This is critical. This is how life gets better for you right here, right now. Now, the magic of the little black book. I'm going to put the old glasses back on because I'm going to read what I wrote about 10 years ago, literally 10 years ago. This is me working 10 years ago. So you can learn something by the types of things that I'm saying, how I'm saying, and really why I'm saying them. I'll come back to it in a minute. I promise. These make my eyes look goggly huge. It's beautiful. All right. Thursday, 6:58 a.m. So I planted the flag. I know when, I know the exact date, I know the time, I know the day of the week. In the future, from this point, this very, 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 very first journal entry about 10 years ago, I started adding other information as well, like my location, whether the sun was out or it was cloudy. These things I just captured right at the top. Let me read this to you. started reading the 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch, or Koch, Koch, last night. Finished 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel last night. Went for early run. By the way, I no longer run. It beats up my knees. I use other exercise equipment. If you want to know my exercise regimen, the tools, my process, comment below, please. Went for early run. Wrote letters, physically wrote letters to partner 1 and partner 2. I'm leaving their names out. I realized 1 to 2 days ago that I really need more friends and business associates, if for no other reason than having more people in my life that I can write. At that point in time, I was very regularly writing postal notes and sending those notes out. I still do it, but to a lesser degree and for other purposes. I'm holding at about XYZ pounds. It doesn't matter. I actually weigh a little bit less than what I weighed 10 years ago, which is bonkers, incredible. If you'd like to know what I've done in the last 10 years to maintain this, if you care, please let me know in the comments below. It's very interesting what I've done. Continuing on. We'll see if that sticks or not. I was talking about my weight. We are going to relaunch XYZ product next week. So I was future pacing. I was putting words and ideas into my mind. I was sort of committing at that point to a project. And XYZ product the week after. Again, setting the tone for what I was going to be doing for my business. There's a lesson that I gave to myself, and the lesson is this. Use what's proven to work and what people want to promote, and work with partners 1-to-1. 3 lessons there, not just one. Use what's proven to work. Don't guess. So if we think about the partners that we have, okay, well, what are they doing? What have our partners done that's working for them? When we look into a marketplace and we see what products are for sale, are we creating products that are similar? We have our own spin on those products, but are there products that are already selling? If you're the very first person to create a very specific product that no one's heard of before, and you try to market that, you're probably going to be in for a hard time. It is usually better to go into a market that's proven and create a product that's similar to a product that's already selling. I was just reminding myself of this fact. The second item here is you want to create what other people want to promote. Why is that? There's 2 reasons. One is if you create something that other people want to promote, you can work with joint venture partners, affiliates, associates, and you can say, hey, I've got this great product. Would you like to promote it? So if you're thinking with the end goal in mind, the end goal being, hey, I need traffic. I need people to help me out. I need people to mail on this, send out emails. I need people to promote this with their traffic, with their social media. I want our partners to be working with their customer base and through their traffic channels. So I don't want to just create a product that's just a beautiful, wonderful product. I want to create a product that in turn our partners, who are a very important traffic source for us, right? I want to make sure that I create something that they can easily promote. So think about other people. Bless other people, bless the wealth of other people, bless the traffic of other people, bless their customers. We want them to succeed. I want my partners, Matt Rhodes, my brother, wants our partners to succeed. So if we create a product and our partners won't promote it, that not only hurts us, it hurts our partners because they're missing out, and those customers of our partners never see the product because we didn't build a product that could easily slip into the traffic channels of other partners. Wise lessons here. And work with partners 1-to-1. So we know that some people are like, oh, I have I have 500 partners. I have a list of thousands of affiliates. And then what they don't do is they don't reach out to the very most important partners. If you remember what I said, I said started reading 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch. 80-20 Principle, Pareto Principle. So at the very, very least, if you have like 20 different JV partners or affiliates, you need to at least pick 4 or 5 of them that are the ones that are very most likely to promote and can bring the heat. So work with at least 4 or 5 of those that you can. Prioritize them and work with those partners one-to-one. Ask them what they want, what they need. And in fact, if you can do this before you've even created the product, wink, wink, my friend. If you can work with the partner ahead of time, then you can build an even better product because you're not only seeing it from different angles, you know that you're building things into that product that your partner can then talk about when they launch their product. Okay? When they provide their bonus and vice versa, right? When they are creating and they're promoting, it comes the other way and you will be built into their process as well. So it's really great to include someone because then you can put a piece of them into your, like a little tiny piece or a big piece into your product. Now that might literally mean that they create a bonus for you. That literally might mean that you interview them and that interview, that expert interview is actually included into the product that you create. That's wisdom right there. That's real money that you can bank on. We've done it again and again, and it works fantastic. But working with people one-to-one, working with partners one-to-one, not just sending out a blast to an affiliate email list is really, really cool and smart. And I say here, especially big dogs, reminder, 80-20. This is important. This is all part. This is in the black book, and this is the very first entry. It's the very, very first entry that I ever put into my little black book. I love this. And this is a great reminder for myself to see this. This is why I produce for myself. And you should produce for yourself as well. But, nurture potential stars as well. So when you're doing your 80-20 analysis of your 10 best partners or your 100 best partners or your 10,000 best partners, it's almost always the smartest thing to do to work with those people who have a proven track record and have helped you again and again and again, and that you've helped them again and again in the past. It's the best business is friendly business. Okay, so if we're selling to customers directly, that's one thing. But if we're working with a joint venture partner, we become friends. We send each other gifts. We get on calls and we talk about what works. We mastermind. So our joint venture partners become friends and associates in a deep sense. If you're interested in that, again, I strongly recommend in the comments below you ask questions about that or let us know that you want an entire training on that specific topic. But you need to nurture potential stars as well. There are people where you can look at and you can see their activity, you can see and feel their energy, even virtually. It's like, yes, it's so good feeling. It is so nice when someone else is really excited. They're fresh, they're ready to go. They've got the hunger, as my brother Matt Rhodes likes to say. They're actually hungry to do deals. They're hungry to take action. Usually these are younger folks, but not always. Sometimes they're older and they're going into retirement. Perhaps that's you, and they've got the extra time. And now they're ready, able, and just willing to go at it full force. But they might be small, but you see something, you feel something. You're like managing talent. This is beautiful. It's wonderful because it's your opportunity to help them. And of course, that will help you. And some of those customers coming through those bright-eyed, starry-eyed, great new high-impact people that are coming in is that just transcends the money. It's a new relationship with new types of people through new channels, and that new blood of customers is so critical. It's really nice to bring in new people from new markets and feel what they feel and feel that energy. So that's not just the joint venture partner, it's that these stars that I'm talking about. It's a very small number of people. They tend to be very enthusiastic, very positive, high energy, and you will attract those people from that list, from that superstar or that future star into your life, onto your list. There's so much emotional energy that we don't give enough credit to. We need to be thinking about that. You and I need to be thinking about that because it's real. The emotions that you're feeling now, the energy that you feel right now, and you can hear the energy in my voice because I'm thinking about the people in our past who we've worked with who were almost nothing, and now they are our size or much larger. And I feel that coming perhaps from you right now, and I appreciate that very, very much. I thank you for your time. I thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. Wrapping up, I say life is good, so I'm rationally optimistic. I'm rationally optimistic. What I mean is that I'm very hard-nosed, I'm very blunt, I'm very logical about things. I do things in a very programmatic and an engineering way. But if you're talking to me, especially one-to-one, I get very animated, I get very crazy. In fact, you can hear some of that emotion in my voice right now. You can see it on my face. I get very amped up, I get jacked up, and I stay that way. And in fact, when I'm teaching and training and helping other people, and if this is in the real world, one-to-one with someone, it's over the top. They feel the electricity. And I need to be reminded of that energy when I produce for myself and when I produce for other people and when I'm creating value and when I'm mastering the value creation process. Because if I'm mastering the value creation process, especially for myself, I know I'm building my wealth. Now remember, this was the Little Black Book. I'm almost done. The Little Black Book, I started doing this journaling, as some people call it, 10 years ago. Now you might call it journaling, but this was the very beginning of my self-mastery journey. It truly was. I was reading books before that. I was thinking, a little bit of meditation, but I didn't have a morning routine. I have one now. Again, in the comments below, if you're interested in my morning routine, by God, let me know. I love talking about my lifetime focus, and very importantly, I love explaining to other people my morning routine and how it's accelerated my wealth tremendously and how it's freed me up and helped me out so much. But the reason I even bring that up is because the Little Black Book was the mechanism where I planted the flag and I said, okay, today is the day where I'm really going to start producing for myself. And this is where self-mastery truly begins. This is how I prove it to myself, because I can go over the years now. Literally, I've probably got 4 or 5 of these black books. This is just the first one. And I can look back over the years, and I do. I'll look back a month, I'll look back a year, I'll look back several years, I'll look back, 8, 9, 10 years from time to time. And I'll take a look and I'll see if I've learned lessons from myself. I'll see if I'm failing in certain areas, if I need to review some of those things that I reminded myself of back then. Now, here's another thing. If you don't have the best memory, count me in that. So my brother Matt, he has a fantastic memory. There are others in my family that have just really, really, really good memory. My memory is average, maybe average at best. I often say it's below average, but it's always been that way. I'm not losing my mind as far as I know, right? I don't think so. Perhaps I am. But the way that I'm able to remember some of the most critical things in my life, not only for business, but also things that have happened in my life personally, physically, health, wellness, fitness. This production, the Little Black Book, has very much helped me stay on track by being true to myself, reviewing those things that I said, this is a mistake, or do more of this, or don't forget this, or here's a lesson. Because every day, and you know this is true, every day you're learning new lessons. The question I have for you is, are you capturing those lessons? Have you captured them? And if so, how have you captured them? Now, back to my memory. I know that I forget so much. I would say that the average person forgets 99% of their day. Maybe that's too much. Maybe you only forget 90% of your day. Okay? But you're only retaining 10% of your day. I don't think it's that high. I think it's a lot lower. I think it's like you retain like 1% maybe at most. And so you're stacking like 1% of memory on per day. Because most of the things that we do are the exact same as we did yesterday. It's the exact same. And when things are not different, they don't stand out and we don't remember them. Think about that. Just take a moment and kind of think about that. What is it that you remember? You remember those things that are new and they're novel and they're unique and you go, ha, eureka. We live for those eureka moments. We live for that experience. We live for it because that's how we tell ourselves stories and that's how we see ourselves. Those are the movies that we run in our own minds. And again, the Little Black Book helps me. It actually is my second mind, really my second memory, because it doesn't do that much in terms of calculations, and certainly there's no artificial intelligence built into my Little Black Book here. At least not yet. Okay, so as I said, we were just about done here. I had mentioned nurturing potential stars, and I say life is good, and then I end by saying feeling blessed today. There was something that I learned so many years ago, probably at this point about 25 years ago, and it didn't really strike me then. Somehow it stuck in my mind, but it didn't strike me, and I hope that it strikes you right now. When I look at other people, I have a very certain kind of feeling about those people. And if I go back about 25 years, 30 years certainly, when I didn't have the resources that I have right now, things are better. I'm doing fairly well, as you might have guessed. But here's the thing, if I look back those 25, 30 years, I would look at other people in my situation, this guy, I would look at myself and I might be envious. It's a real emotion. It is what it is. And jealousy as well. Like, well, how come that guy's not as smart as me? That guy is not as good looking as me. That guy's not as funny as me. That guy doesn't have the same education as me. He doesn't have any of this stuff. And yet he's making 2, 3, 5, 10 times as much as me. That's not right. That's not fair. And I was whining, moaning, and complaining. That's what I was doing. And then finally, this was a eureka moment. I had read somewhere or someone said to me or I experienced it in some way. It was, bless their wealth. Bless their wealth. So the better that someone is doing than you, the more money they have, the better partner that they have, a life partner, could be a business partner, right? Husband, could be wife, better kids, nicer, friendlier kids, better job, anything, pick, right? The people that are doing the very, 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 very best are the ones that deserve and need your very highest blessings. Now, this is counterintuitive, and I understand why. And you're like, oh, probably, if you've never heard this before, you're probably like, no, bless the poor, bless the unfortunate. That's a topic for another day. Well, what I will say is this, the very best way to help those that are not doing as well as you is not necessarily to bless them by saying bless them because they're poor. You're not blessing them because they're poor. The best way to bless those people is by providing value to them, creating for them, giving something of extreme value to them. Now that might mean some volunteer work as well. It might be, acts of kindness and gifts and so forth. But the very, very best thing that you can probably do is use your unique ability and your gifts and help those other people physically and in the real world, or maybe financially, help them, directly give to them. But I would say the very best way of doing that is actually creating products. providing services, and actually, yes, charging so that you stay in business, so that you have profits, so that you can continue to escalate that. Tony Robbins gives away, I don't even know how many tens of thousands of turkeys at this point. He does it every Thanksgiving, Christmas, or something or other, but he's able to do more and more and more and more every year because he has greater and greater wealth. Okay, so he's able to instantiate or create the blessings for those that are not as fortunate, below him, so to speak, right? They're just not as fortunate as him. That would mean me. I don't have as much as Tony Robbins, not by a stretch. But the point is that he's able to help them in the real world. So the focus of saying to someone who is beyond you, above you, who has greater wealth, opportunity, who you feel that way, doesn't matter if they actually are, if you feel that way, that is when it's most important to bless their wealth, because you're providing goodwill, and it counteracts that goodwill, those good feeling, the good vibrations, literally the good vibes in the air, the positivity and the optimism that you're providing into the universe is real. But very importantly, selfishly, yes, selfishly, the reason for blessing the wealth of other people that are beyond and above you, again, so to speak, is that by doing that, you mitigate, in some cases even totally eliminate jealousy and envy. Those are the enemies. I can't do that. Why do they have that? That person doesn't deserve that, and so on and so forth. And that's where the whining, moaning, and complaining comes from. So it was once I learned how to bless the wealth of others, actually say that and feel that and embrace that. Bless you, bless the wealth of others. And I try to bless the very person in my mind and in my heart. Spiritually, I try to do that because that's what works best for the universe. And importantly, being part of the universe, that helps for me as well. So that's the way to think about blessing other people, so to speak, is that you can do it in words, and you can do it in emotion and strong feelings, in your speech, especially if it's someone who's beyond and they don't care much about your wealth. They don't care about taking from you. They're so far above, who cares? So that's how you bless them. And those that are less fortunate than you can bless them with products, services, with your wealth, with your time, with your energy, your focus, your products, your services. That is the way. And again, the little black book helped me understand that. Producing for myself every single day with my little black book. And I basically utilize my little black book 355 to 60 days out of the year. I do miss some days because I'll be on vacations where I'm completely out of touch. I will not be near even a pen. I've got a couple of lessons here on the side, and this does wrap it up. 1-to-1 is better than 1-to-many in some situations, and 1-to-many is better than 1-to-1 in other situations. If you want to know that lesson, again, in the comments below, ask me what I mean by 1-to-1 versus 1-to-many and 1-to-many versus 1-to-1, because the flow is very specific and particular. I know it because it's my little black book. And then lesson 2 is build relationships. You might think that you have relationships or that they happen by magic, but relationships are built. They're built through blood, sweat, and tears, time, energy, focus, gifts, emotion, energy, spiritual activity, the blessings upon others. That's how you build relationships. And here's the thing, you don't just have relationships. If you only have a relationship, over time it will decay. It will rot over time. A relationship requires nonstop fertilization, nonstop attention. When I say that, it can be every day, every week, every month, once a year, but there is energy, time, focus, sometimes money, depends on the situation, where it's going into the relationship. That's what's required. Meeting up with friends for lunch, maybe grabbing some drinks. Maybe it's going on a vacation with others and you're investing your time, your energy, your focus. Also, when you're building, you might think that you should be building and then expressing to others. And typically, the better building process is building the other person up, helping the other person, providing value to the other person, your friend, your colleague, wife, husband, your kids. Build and stack. You need a foundation first. So make sure you have that foundation. Make sure you have principles in place. Make sure you know the ground rules. Even if the other person doesn't know the ground rules, in your own mind, take a little time and think about those principles. Think about the value of other people. Like, what is it? What does it really matter to have this relationship with someone? And if it's a bad relationship, maybe you haven't built the relationship the right way. Maybe you need to take charge and steer the ship in a different direction. So I've had to do that with some of my relationships with some very good friends, where I've had to not just build, but I've had to rebuild certain relationships. And that's been in large part built on the self-mastery that I've been talking about. The little black book, the teaching and training of myself about the things that I've learned in the day, the memory that I'm able to shake loose, those times where I can look over time and look back in my little black books. Remember, this is over years, 10 years of little black books. I'm able to look back over time, and I can look for patterns as well. Imagine being able to do that. If you had that kind of track record that you've created, you have a daily track record, you can go back and you can look at things like, hey, how was my health back then? What did I eat? Was I allergic to something? Oh, why did I gain weight from here to here? Oh, what kicked this off? Oh, that's when I first met this person. Oh, that's so-and-so's birthday, and so on and so on. It can be your second memory. If your memory is not great, start journaling. Start using your own little black book. Now, what is this? If you're interested, I can tell you very quickly, it is a blank notebook. If you want to know more about how I go about it, what I think about, what I do, again, down in the comments, you've got to let me know. We pay very close attention to these things. Would love to help you on your journey, because it's not just journaling. Obviously, everything that I've covered so far is far, far, far beyond just writing words in a notebook. It's very purposeful. I spend a lot of time. In fact, I remember spending several weeks really thinking through the kinds of material that I wanted to keep in my little black book. And I made a commitment that I was going to keep it up. And I started a trend, like I would do it every day in the morning as part of my morning routine. So habits, like gear work every morning. I know what's going to happen. When I wake up, I know my exact morning routine. Again, ask me about my morning routine if you're interested. And part of the morning routine, so I make sure that I do it. The best investment is investing in yourself. If you do it first thing in the morning, if you have a morning routine and you do your journaling in the morning, then you are guaranteed to make the best investment of the day immediately, because there's no better investment than investing in yourself. If you have a morning routine and journaling is part of your morning routine, then you know that you've done something great. No matter what else happens in the day, something fantastic has happened. You've added to your second memory. You've added to your little black book, and you've helped yourself to obtain a greater level of self-mastery. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I know it was a little bit different than other teachings and trainings. What do you think? If you'd like me to touch on any of the topics that I've described in this teaching and training, then please let me know in the comments below. By all means, please subscribe or share this with someone that you think would get value out of it, because it's from word of mouth referrals like these that this channel grows, and it can make a profound difference in the lives of so many people. Obviously, what I've covered can apply to just about anyone. As always, the Rhodes Brothers do appreciate your time and attention and your focus. Please give this a thumbs up. Please share it. It does help with the algorithm, and it does help share the message with other people. Appreciate you very much. John S. Rhodes signing off. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.